Prepare yourself, guys. Chris with T3 Medias. I went to a late showing of Logan, and right off the bat, I'm not gonna make this one into a spoilers because I want everybody to experience this one. People were saying that this was their favorite movie of the year. People were I didn't want to watch any reviews of it or too many reviews, and I wanted to go in there with an open mind. I didn't see too many trailers, and I wanted to just have my own experience. I knew a lot of what we all know now before going in to see the movie. You know about if you know anything about the comic books, you know about X-23, a clone of Wolverine, daughter, and it was that little girl. It wasn't a situation where I would say like she carried the movie or anything like that, but she brought something to the movie that made me I don't know. I don't know. It was kind of interesting. She with her silence and her acting ability, it was like watching a pack of animals and a family wrapped up into a like Family Matters or Full House kind of a situation. Like imagine those situations with Danny Tanner is talking to Michelle and they're freaking, savages and all that stuff. So it was very heartfelt. This was very different from all the other X-Men movies. I mean, it didn't play like an X-Men movie. And one of the differences that really stood out to me was Patrick Stewart. He as Professor Xavier, it wasn't the way he normally plays the character. This was pretty much just like Patrick Stewart. You know how McClane, Bruce Willis is the joke is that Bruce Willis isn't really, doing like his best work as of late. He's just pretty much Bruce Willis going in there, phoning it in and getting a paycheck. This was Patrick Stewart playing Patrick Stewart. He was funnier. He was being more of his silly self and whatnot because of the mental issues that I guess Xavier is going through. He was just going for it, and it threw me off a little bit, but at the same time, it made sense. I mean, if after all these years, if Professor Xavier is going through the problems mentally that he's going through in the mind that he has, it made sense that Patrick Stewart would just go for it. He decided to play this character way differently, and it needed it. And it was the whole environment. I mean, everything that you find out in this movie, it's like one punch after another of just unexpected, just I don't know, a drama sandwich. Just wrapped into a whole, just gut buster of an emotional ride, and it's heartfelt, and it's warm, and it's loving, and it's all these things. All right, now strip all that crap out the way. Then you get into the straight. This was a freaking berserker barrage wrapped up into a whole like a jam-packed taco of a burrito of just straight carnage. I mean, the kill scenes, the fight scenes, every aspect of this movie. I mean, from the girl to Wolverine himself. I mean, if he was losing a step, she picked up the slack and then some. It was crazy, and there was one special ability that X-23 has that I forgot about. I remember seeing it in the comic book, and I was thinking to myself, that's a weird thing. And if you don't know anything about the comic book, I'm not going to spoil it. I'm not going to ruin the surprise for you. You'll see what I'm talking about. She's just like Wolverine. When you wonder why, if it's her daughter and whatnot, why doesn't she have 3 claws? If you've seen it, she only has 2. And you'll see what's coming out for that. And it feels weird at first when you first see it, but then Professor Xavier kind of explains it in a nice way and kind of gives a little bit of an explanation for that, for her being a girl and all that. It was kind of cool, but there was a lot of growling in this movie too, man. I mean, everybody was just growling. I mean, everything was just like I said. It was just the berserker barrage just set to motion, just go. Just the berserker barrage, like the whole time. Even when it was calm, it felt like he was just raging out, man. And one of the main villains in this was really cool. It was a cool little element that's kind of thrown in there. And I wondered if it was like a throwback to the Sabretooth character who was played in the first Wolverine movie. It was, I mean, he wasn't in this movie, but there was a haircut that kind of reminded me of him. It was pretty cool. Overall, I don't know where I rate this one, man. It's a blockbuster. I'm gonna say it's a 4 for now. It's a 4 definitely. Is it up there on the level of? I can't compare it to. This didn't feel like a comic book movie, man. This felt like it's just a drama. You could have taken all the mutant stuff out of it, and this could have been just like a movie about just some gifted kid who was given their powers by science, or just genetic kind of altering, like kind of a weird science kind of a thing happening, and then a hero has to take her along. It reminded me of Three Fugitives. Man, it was one of those movies where you had 2 guys and a little girl or whatever, and it made me think about how many of those movies actually exist. But Three Fugitives, if for some reason, that an early '90s movie, for some reason it reminded me of that a lot, like Look Who's Talking or 3 Men and a Baby kind of a thing. Where one of those movies where the kid is special, and you gotta do everything you can to help her, even if you don't want to, and help the kid out, and then the kid comes out to be something special as well, which you obviously knew that was going to be the case. But it was funny how many of those movies it kind of reminded me of. I mean, on the level of a comic book movie, it was up there because of the fact that it was just so different from any other comic book ever made. And that's why I got to give it a high rating, because it was very different from anything that's ever been made. And if you take the comic book stuff out of it, it was just you take the comic book stuff out of it, the rated R factor out of it, and all that stuff. It was just a good story, a family story in a weird way. It was a family that's struggling to cope with parenting in his weird way, in Logan's weird way. Logan being as old as he is, I mean, it was only 12 years in the future from now. But what was messing me up was why Logan looked like it was like 50 years or 100 years in the future. Like, what the heck is going on? And that's explained as well. And that was the sad thing. Where the mutants go from here, if you follow this timeline, I don't know. I don't even really know where this story falls into place. I mean, with the whole thing with Days of Future Past and whatnot, is this an alternative reality from if Days of Future Past never happened? I don't know. I guess it'll be explained in the future from the directors and whatnot. If that answer's already out there, I haven't looked it up yet, but I can't wait to find out. But it was a good story. So overall, you're gonna enjoy what you see. You're gonna have a good time at this one. I give it a 4 out of 5. That's all I'm gonna say about it. I had a blast watching it. Hugh Jackman did a good job. Oh, now I'm gonna give my little spoilers from another thing. The beginning of the spoiler alert. There's no end credit scene, but you will get a special video from Deadpool from the beginning. He's not in the movie, but it's a funny little thing that you're gonna get at the beginning of the movie. So that was a cool little thing. I hope Fox decides to keep that going. So if you have any questions, if you want to talk about this, comment below. Let me know what you guys think about the movie. Like this video. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't subscribed already. Check out the blog. Some more information there I'm going to be dropping out. And hey, till next time, guys. Peace.